And then the thing with Bad Boy and Death Row, it kind of just took it over the top.
We asked Keefe D the $1 million question.
So if I go to jail, you need to be handcuffed to me.
In a shocking twist to a decades-old hip-hop enigma, we're diving deep into startling revelations surrounding the tragic demise of Tupac Shakur. Las Vegas police's arrest of Keefe D has sent shockwaves across the industry, casting suspicion on Diddy's alleged role in the heartbreaking saga.
Do you feel like Puffy owe you?
Yeah, he should. I think he should look out. He look out for everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
A leaked audio of Keefe D spills it all, but it's not just him. Even Ice Cube seems to have joined the chorus, hinting at the brewing storm. And the whispers, they've been around since the 90s. Ice Cube's not. So subtle jabs at Diddy have everyone talking, but he's not alone. Eminem, Suge Knight, Mace. They've all had their say. So who dropped that bombshell recording, and what will it mean for the hip-hop world?
Undercurrent of animosity that was growing blow all the way up and look like it was a feud.
As we revisit that ominous 1996 night in Las Vegas, Tupac's sudden departure doesn't just break hearts. It tears the very fabric of the rap community, with rumors pointing fingers at industry insiders. The narrative takes an unexpected turn when, under the intense gaze of Las Vegas courtroom lights, Keefe D drops a bomb, pinning Diddy as the mastermind with a staggering price tag on Tupac and Suge Knight. But with Diddy's camp calling this a baseless nonsense, what's the real story?
So many people in music and Hollywood fear this guy, Diddy, as if he's untouchable, and even the
Sugar Diddy.
The tape obtained by the U.S. Sun allegedly featured Compton gangster Keefe D, real name Davis. In this tape, and on multiple occasions, including in his book and social media interviews, he claims that hip-hop star Diddy, Sean Combs, paid a whopping $1 million to orchestrate the assassination of Tupac Shakur and record label boss Suge Knight.
They'd give us anything for them dudes there, you know? Yeah.
Give you anything for these guys' head?
Yeah, he said it in front of all the people. I couldn't believe it.
This revelation sends ripples across the hip-hop industry, leading many to question the legitimacy and intent behind this claim. Was it a true account of events or a calculated attempt at infamy?
He tells you, seriously, man, I need to get rid of these guys. I mean, he's looking at you in the eyes and he's like scared.
Yeah.
Keefe D's candidness does not stop with the tape. He also detailed, in his book Compton Street Legend, a particular rendezvous with Diddy in New York. As they dined on pastrami sandwiches and sipped pink champagne, Diddy allegedly leaned in and whispered a grave request. I have a couple of problems I need to be handled. Big CO Suge Knight and Pac. Keefe D, sensing Diddy's trepidation, claimed, I'm able to smell and see fear. Puffy was full of fear. This supposed conflict, however, isn't confined to the pages of a book or a leaked recording. Former gangster James McDonald, formerly known as Mob James, recounted to the U.S. some that rumors were rife at the time about Daddy and others from Death Row placing bounties on Tupac and Suge. James, a former security enforcer for Death Row Records, stated unequivocally that Diddy feared Suge. The tit-for-tat conflict between East Coast's Bad Boy Records and West Coast's Death Row Records became so heated, lives were taken without hesitation.
Puffy put out this claim of, I'll pay $1 million if you get rid of Tupac and Suge. Tupac is now gone.
Further pulling back the curtain on the East TVs, West Coast rivalry witnesses have detailed the enmity between Diddy and Tupac. A witness, who was once part of the Southside Crips with Keefe, described how Tupac's joining of Death Row Records and his assertion that Diddy and rapper Biggie Smalls were behind his previous shooting intensified the bad blood.
People were starting to say it's an East Coast, West Coast rivalry because it was people that's trying to make money. It was true people trying to make careers, it was people trying to get famous.
Suge Knight's perspective on this is just as telling. In a bold move at the 1995 Source Awards in New York City, Suge Knight, the CEO of Death Row Records, took a veiled shot at Diddy. While not directly naming him, Suge mocked Diddy's penchant for being prominently featured in Bad Boy artist videos, saying any artist who didn't want an executive producer constantly in their videos should join Death Row. This public ridicule, paired with Snoop Dogg's vocal disapproval of the East Coast during the same event, only added fuel to the raging fire of rap rivalry.
They was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified of Suge Knight.
To add another layer, Keith Murray, in a sit-down with The Art of Dialogue, recalled witnessing an altercation between Diddy and Suge Knight. Murray's anecdote painted a vivid picture of a night at Platinum House where Suge Knight allegedly slapped Diddy. This incident, according to Murray, left a stunned Diddy contemplating the consequences of being too nice.
Bro. Walked in with a cigar by himself. Alicia Keys start running.
The story of Diddy and Keefe's acquaintance is quite fascinating, with roots deeply intertwined in the fabric of the Compton neighborhood and its street culture. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis's life reads like a mosaic filled with shades of gray, punctuated by moments of stark black and white. Born into a sprawling family of 13 siblings, Keefe D's early life was marred by the tragic loss of his brother, shot by members of the rival East Side Pirates gang. Such events, visceral and raw, served to shape his trajectory into the world of crime, gang affiliations, and eventually, a long incarceration. While Keefe D's name is synonymous with affiliations like the Southside Compton Crips, it's his ties to the music industry, particularly with Death Row Records, that paints an unexpected layer in his life. His association with Harry O, a pivotal figure behind the inception of Death Row Records, bears testament to the unexpected turns of his life. Keefe D's pivotal role in connecting Harry O with Eazy-E, hinting at what could have been an alternative leadership for Death Row before Dr. Dre stepped in, also highlights his influence in the shaping of the iconic label. The dynamics of his relationship with Suge Knight, a childhood friend turned music mogul, is reflective of the complex web of connections that often lurked behind the curtain in the music industry. And despite the heavy cloud of suspicion, Suge Knight, once a pillar of influence in the world of hip-hop, remains a bastion of loyalty to his old ties. His recent refusal to testify against Dwayne Keefe Davis sheds light on the intricate dynamics of their shared history. When TMZ reached out to Suge regarding Keefe D's arrest, his response was drenched in surprise, a palpable reluctance to see his old friend entangled in the wheels of justice.
If he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement with anything, who want to see? I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy.
Dispelling the widely held belief that Keefe D's nephew, Orlando Anderson, was behind the trigger, Suge made it clear there were only two people in the car. Tupac's not gonna tell the story. I ain't gonna tell the story, he asserted, emphasizing. But I can tell you this, I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because he wasn't the shooter. It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I gotta say about that part. This conviction is further buttressed by an anonymous witness who claimed weeks prior to Keefe D's arrest that the shooter was indeed DeAndre Big Dre Smith. And when pressed about the possibility of being summoned to testify, Suge Knight's stance was unwavering.
By either side, you will not comply, you will not testify. Do I have that right?
1,000%. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't testify, none of that.
Yet, of all the narratives intertwined with Keefe D's life, his involvement with Diddy, known back then as Puff Daddy, stands out. Their relationship, seemingly innocuous at the start, began over a lowrider loaned for an Usher music video. But it was more than just a business transaction. Keefe D and his crew actively marked their territory in Diddy's world, making their power and influence known during his events. This silent assertion of dominance resonated even in the sartorial choices of the time, as Keefe D alluded to influencing Diddy's transition from streetwear to his iconic shiny suit face. Such intricacies, including Diddy's responsibility in fixing the lowrider damaged during Usher's video shoot, hints at the layers of depth in their association. However, not all memories of this bond are draped in rose-tinted hues. Keefe D's regret over crossing paths with Diddy is palpable. Despite the initial goodwill that seemed to characterize their early interactions, Keefe D can't shake off the belief that this relationship, in part, ensnared him in the heart-wrenching narrative surrounding Tupac's demise. If I wouldn't have ever met him, I wouldn't have ever been involved in this mess, Keefe D asserted. He lamented the fracturing of empires that ensued in the aftermath, pointing out how Diddy emerged unscathed while others bore the brunt. In a game where alliances were as fluid as the beats they danced to, Keefe D feels Diddy's cunning maneuvering pitched factions against each other. Recent developments have added to Keefe D's anguish. Decades after Tupac's demise, the spotlight has turned back onto him. The discovery of bullets in a property tied to him has reawakened interest in the case, casting shadows of doubt and suspicion. While the verdict is still out and forensic tests underway, the echoes of the past continue to haunt Keefe D. And now back to the main topic. Ice Cube's anguish over the unsolved mysteries surrounding Tupac's demise is palpable.
Who killed Tupac and Biggie? I think both of these dudes were assassinated in some kind of way. More Biggie than Tupac.
In a candid conversation with Chris Como for News Nation, the legendary rapper from NWA expressed deep dismay at the sluggish pace of the investigation, especially when the world has been in the dark for over a quarter of a century about the events leading up to that fateful night in Las Vegas. Seems like it's 30 years too late, Ice Cube lamented, underscoring a collective sentiment that the truth, whatever its nature, is long overdue. His frustration is further amplified by comparisons to other high-profile cases, pointing out how swiftly the perpetrator behind John Lennon's assassination was apprehended. For Tupac's demise to be, somewhat unsolved, as well as Biggie's, is just a shame, Cube poignantly remarked.
Tupac being killed, Biggie being killed, was just a wake-up call for the whole industry.
Insiders have whispered about what has been an open secret in the tight-knit world of hip-hop. Many were well aware of the alleged deal between Diddy and Keefe D. Ice Cube, never one to mince words, has been particularly vocal in private gatherings about the seeming injustice of it all. While others are either no longer with us or are in prison, Diddy has become a billionaire and is free. He would often say, echoing the sentiment that some big names remained untarnished, despite the swirling allegations. This sentiment mirrored the recent revelations of Keefe D's involvement, whose ties to the case have resurfaced in an eerie manner. For many, especially the legends of the hip-hop world, the quest for the truth isn't just about solving a crime. It's about laying to rest a chapter that has cast a shadow over the industry for too long. As Ice Cube pointed out, we haven't heard the absolute, whole truth when it comes to Tupac's demise. Only time will tell if the echoes of the past will finally be silenced with undeniable truth. As we unravel this hip-hop mystery, we're left pondering, was Diddy truly involved in Tupac's tragic demise, or is Keefe D seeking fame? How do these claims change your view on hip-hop legends? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay in the groove. Farewell.